Xbox is looking to close game studios Double Fine, Ninja Theory, and of course Compulsion Games like we reported yesterday, and that's according to multiple reports right now. Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to know this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. I think we said the same thing yesterday too.
Yeah, and I think we're going to keep saying it for a while yet. This is not a fun ride to be on. Just a continually accelerating downward slope as things get worse and worse. Of course, this is all downstream of Ashish Sharma's grand restructuring of Xbox, which also means laying off a lot of people. But we're starting to get the first rumblings, and they're not good. What's going on, Brian?
Oh, yeah, and this comes from who else but our buddy Jason Schreier of Bloomberg. He reported yesterday that Psychonauts developer Double Fine and Hellblade developers Ninja Theory are joining Compulsion Games in the sad list of studios on Xbox's downsizing warpath. So, we had kind of speculated about it yesterday, but yeah, Schreier reports that several other studios are also at risk of closure on top of the 3 that have made the headlines so far. So yeah, it's not good. It's going to continue to not be good.
So the studio closures are not guaranteed as of yet. Reports indicate that these studios are negotiating with Microsoft to buy their studios back, which would allow them to continue operating independently. And hey, that would be cool if that happened.
Yeah, that would be ideal. But even if these at-risk studios can secure the funding to do so, Schreier writes that, quote, many employees will likely lose their jobs as a result. So there's not really a good path here. We'll get more into the current state of video game investment later and what that might mean for any of these studios, but for now, we'll just stick to the news.
Yeah, meanwhile, The Verge's reporting left even less to the imagination, directly saying that Xbox is, in fact, closing Ninja Theory. And then from Insider Gaming's Mike Straw, he name-dropped Arcane in addition to Compulsion Games in a blue skeet, writing that he has received scared messages from employees at both studios. Man, that sucks.
So if you haven't followed the news till now, all these studio closure rumblings come after Xbox CEO Ashish Sharma and Xbox Chief Content Officer Matt Booty posted an open letter that more or less said Xbox would be massively cutting costs.
Yep, and that means studios, that means headcount. Schreier previously reported that the job cuts would land after the close of Microsoft's fiscal year on June 30th, which is just 2 weeks away, and this is going to be a really horrible 2 weeks.
Yeah, and just so we can prepare our tender hearts for the future, here's a rundown of Xbox's studios and where they're at. First up, we got the Coalition. They're co-developing Gears of War E-Day, which Sharma recently declared an Xbox console exclusive, so you would think they would be all right. And then Halo Studios, of course, is about to launch Halo Campaign Evolved after a 5-year gap since the poorly received Halo Infinite.
Boy, that would be crazy if they shut down Halo Studios. I feel like that's probably never going to happen, but boy, would that be wild. In Exile Entertainment is developing Clockwork Revolution, which Sharma also recently declared an Xbox console exclusive. They might be a little more on the chopping block than Halo Studios. I'm worried about them. And then, of course, there's Mojang Studios. They make Minecraft. They also recently announced Minecraft Dungeons 2, launching September 2026. And I bet they are the safest, I would imagine.
Yeah, if anyone's got the money shields, it ought to be Mojang. Or maybe a subsidiary like Activision Blizzard at this point. But it's kind of weird because there's Xbox Game Studios and then there's other companies they own that have studios of their own. So this is just Xbox Game Studios for now, which of course includes Obsidian Entertainment. They had a really busy 2025. They launched Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2. Unfortunately, both didn't super perform well, at least according to some rumblings and headlines. They also launched Grounded 2 in early access in 2025, and that's a live service project that they've got going. And Grounded seems to be doing pretty well for them, at least according again to random headlines.
Yeah, Grounded's super fun. I'm actually looking forward to that. Then we've got Playground Games, which just launched the very well-received Forza Horizon 6 with Turn 10 Studios as a reported co-developer. And then Rare operates, obviously, the live service game Sea of Thieves. Its long in development project Everwild was canceled in July of last year. They have not shipped a new game since Sea of Thieves in 2018, so...
That's worrisome. Technically, also Rare made 2020's Battletoads, but main development was done by Dlala Studios. And Brian, I'm assuming you beat Battletoads as well.
It was fun. It was not as hard to beat as 1991's Battletoads, but it was fun and I liked it.
We also have Undead Labs. They're developing State of Decay 3, which actually just had a gameplay trailer in the Xbox Game Showcase. They've been working on that one for a long time. It's set to launch in 2027. So I really do hope that they get there.
Yeah, let's hope that release is pending enough to keep their blood flowing. World's Edge is the last Xbox Game Studios studio. They work on the Age of Empires series, and they've actually been really busy. They've had like basically a launch every year. They just announced a new expansion for Age of Empires 4 at the Xbox Game Showcase, and that's set to release fall 2026.
Yeah, Xbox also, like we said, owns Bethesda Game Studios. That's comprised of Arcane, id, Machine Games, ZeniMax, and of course, Activision Blizzard King.
Yeah, the information by way of Reuters said last week that Xbox CEO Ash Sharma intended to increase spending on their biggest franchises there at Bethesda. And she specifically mentioned Halo, Fallout, and the Elder Scrolls. So maybe Halo Studios is okay if they're going to give them more money to make another Halo. And then, of course, Fallout and the Elder Scrolls. But Lawrence, we were just talking about this before the episode. What do you think happens? Do you think that they really are going to find more money and then somehow throw it at Bethesda to make more games? Or
I wonder if it's a rights thing, because this notion of just like, we're going to throw money at the franchises that make the biggest money and we'll ship games. Spencer kind of tried that and it didn't work out. The Initiative? They paid a studio for 5 years to do nothing, basically. The Initiative had to like co-dev with other studios. They farmed out all their work. They switched engines. It was just a bunch of just nobody getting a project off the ground. And I think we've seen over and over in tech that you can't throw money at game studios and get a good selling or a good even performing game on the back end of it. And also, yeah, with the rights, I wonder, like, if somebody could have just signed a big check to get more Fallout games out there before Asha Sharma, I feel like they would have. Anyone would have. Maybe, maybe not, but I feel like there's got to be some agreement there where Bethesda retains the rights to those brands. And also with Halo, something occurred to me when thinking about studios actually closing down. Did they rename their studio Halo Studios to protect them from getting shut down? Xbox can't close Halo Studios, right? Even though they don't really make games. But yeah, you're in a weird position here where what do? Do they just give more money to Bethesda, only for Bethesda to take their time shipping everything like they always do? Do they give more money to Halo Studios that can't make, like, they took 5 years to remake Halo 1 and not even with the multiplayer? I don't know. It seems like there's a paralysis here that is maybe more structural or rights-based than it is just throwing money at people who want to make games. Because they did that and got a bunch of games that nobody bought, and now all those studios are on the verge of closing. So, I don't know. I wish there was some arrangement here where they could take the brands and give them to the studios that want to work and can actually ship titles. But for some reason that doesn't happen and didn't happen. I remember there was a weird thing Phil Spencer said when they were about to acquire Activision Blizzard, that Activision had this like war chest of IPs that their studios wanted access to. And he made it sound like that was a thing that could easily happen. Once they acquire Activision, then they can reach in there and grab all these brands and just throw them around like candy to a bunch of starving children. And then they'll get a bunch of games and a bunch of IP revivals that at least have some kind of like marketing hook, some kind of marketability to them. But yeah, we just never saw any of that. Who knows why? I guess making games is hard. But I don't know, this all just feels, it's simple to summarize it by saying it all feels bad, but boy does it feel bad. And to be one of these studios that has like worked hard and shipped titles and earned awards only to see your studio get closed down so that ZeniMax can get another $10 million to make no Fallout games, that would be so irksome to me.
Yeah, this is obviously, just so you know, when we're joking about stuff, and we're not joking about the fact that people are losing their jobs. This is incredibly sad, and the reason we speculate about this stuff is because we're usually trying to figure out a way to prevent it next time. Not that we're businessmen, but to me, and we talked about this yesterday, to me, it just feels like Phil Spencer was their shield, was everybody's shield. He just told them, all of these tiny little studios, make whatever game you want, we'll market them, we'll put it in Game Pass, and don't worry, everything will be fine. And then the economy took a shit, is basically what happened. Like starting in 2025, it really, really took a nosedive, and it's only gotten worse. So now we're in a space where Phil Spencer was shielding all these studios. He has resigned or was pushed out. and he's no longer the Shield anymore. I mean, I was just trying to remember when I predicted that Ninja Theory was going to get closed down after Hellblade, because I was shocked that Ninja Theory was still there, and Hellblade 2 underperformed, and they were still open. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, I'm so glad. And it clearly was Phil Spencer being like, don't worry, guys. Like, just make another video game. You guys will be fine. And then he bailed. So now all of those studios are on the chopping block, and I think it's becoming more and more clear why Satya Nadella put Asha Sharma in place. And again, this was something that we speculated on when she first started. She's saying a lot of the right stuff to the audience and to all the people on Twitter, but we were all sort of speculating as to, is she the one that's going to have to do all the hard stuff and then bail? And boy, do I not want that. I don't want that for Xbox or anybody that works under Xbox Game Studios or any of these studios at all. Like, it's so sad. And it's just a really terrible spot that everybody is in. And June 30th rolls around, we're going to start to see the Grim Reaper knocking on all these doors, and this is just what a fucking bummer.
Yeah, there was an editorial in Polygon this morning saying that Microsoft should just get out of games before it does more damage. So you're seeing calls like that. There's another thing that stuck with me this morning in the New York Times, talking about how the global economy has been totally thrown into turmoil and is being reshuffled because of the war in Iran. And so I think you're seeing that. I think Microsoft is in an AI arms race with all the other tech titans. And I don't know, but I speculate that maybe Nadella's like, why are we wasting all this money in video games? Like, let's get our AI right. That's where all the money is going. And so all these bets that were made kind of in the late 2010s, when interest rates were low, when the economic conditions were so much different now. And now I think it's just super unsettled. I think companies hate that. I think they're going to try to cut costs where they can. I think that's what you're seeing. And yeah, I think you're going to have the big kind of star studios like Bethesda and Halo, and maybe not much else. I mean, we've all worked in places where there's a few star employees and they can kind of do whatever they want and they won't be touched. But then new management comes in, they're like, the rest of you kind of have to go. It's very sad to say, but that feels like what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what makes me especially frustrated is when you see the same cycles play out, and I feel like that's about to happen. Not only are a bunch of studios going to get thrown to the wind, but a bunch of money's about to get wasted too, under maybe an underbaked strategy that seems simple on the surface, but requires a little more experience to like really know. We'll see. I looked a little bit into this too because I wanted to find some glimmer of hope. But it sounds like the state of games investing right now is not great for this specific scenario. So this was an article that I was reading from Chris Dring, The Game Business, back in 2025. He was talking with a kind of a roundup of game investors and sort of summarized what they were talking about. A couple of the points I think that are pertinent to this is that a lot of game investors are, of course, looking for small teams, probably like. They want teams on the way up, not necessarily on the way down. So any team that's going to be exiting Xbox at this point has probably got a head count that's maybe a little. It's not quite the lean, agile, low-cost startup that investors are looking for. It's going to come in with a lot of the corporate hires and stuff, a lot of the corporate headcount that a small, angry group of people that are willing to work 18 hours a day aren't necessarily going to have, which I think connects with what Schreier had said, that even if some of these studios can secure investment, it's going to lead to a lot of job loss because those investors are going to want a really trim company. The other thing that I thought was interesting is that these days investors want to see a playable prototype of a game. I guess just getting up and spinning a good PowerPoint isn't quite enough to secure tens of millions of dollars of funding anymore. But that's also a place that these studios may not be, given how sudden this news is, or given how in business terms, like in 2 months for you to go from, I think we're funded and we're doing fine, we have a greenlit project, everything should be good, to, oh, damn, we have to find a way to negotiate our own acquisition and do that with a prototype that we didn't know we'd need right now. So that's real quick and really volatile. And for any dev studio to have maybe they have a work in progress they can show to somebody else, and through these negotiations, Xbox can sell it off or negotiate some kind of trade. Maybe there's a studio that's sitting on something that valuable, like maybe Ninja Theory can show Senua to someone else, and they'll take over publishing duties, and everything will be not fine, but life will go on in some way. But even that, I think, is tough, because we've seen from a lot of other examples that even producers with proven track records are getting their funding yanked as a bunch of people who are a lot more free with investment are starting to pull it back and reconsider their bets. So it's a scary time. Of course, like, there is no good time for this to happen, but it seems like this is also this is an especially not good time.
Yeah, Lawrence, what you're describing is going from a game team that was making a game, and then 2 months later they need a playable prototype or they're shut down. That is the regime change from Phil Spencer to Asher Sharma. That's it. That's what happened. And I don't know that those game studios knew that Phil Spencer was going to either leave or get fired. And so now they're all like scrambling to find something to sell their studio to literally them sell to Xbox and be like, no, keep us, or come up with new investors. So and like you said, Lawrence, boy, it is a not good time to invest in basically anything right now, except for SpaceX, turns out. Sadly. Thank you very much for watching Inside Games Daily as usual. We very much appreciate you watching the channel. Hopefully you subscribed, because we try to do news at least once a day, Monday through Friday. And we also have a Patreon that you can support that will allow us to make more and more content like we've been making because of Brian Garr and Shooklin. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for helping out. And thank you, Patreon supporters, Revelanche Glide, Bellingary, and Versalite. We appreciate you. And you know what? You're not a small studio, so you're probably not going to get shut down by Xbox. That's good.